Fall is here and pumpkin spice season is on. Today we are making some pumpkin spice snickerdoodles to enjoy with a cup of coffee and welcome in the autumn season. These are a super simple cookie to make, but they are one of our family's favorites. Slightly crisp on the outside and soft on the inside with the perfect amount of that pumpkin spice flavor. We're going to show you exactly how we make them and give you all of our measurements and step-by-step directions so you can make them yourself at home. If you love easy family favorite recipes, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and come hang out in the kitchen with us while we make some pumpkin spice snickerdoodles. We'll start by preheating our oven to 375 degrees. We're going to use an electric mixer to make these cookies. We're using our KitchenAid stand mixer, but an electric hand mixer would work too. We'll start with half a cup of salted butter. We love this grass-fed butter from Costco. It has a really delicious flavor. And since we're using salted butter, we won't need to add any additional salt to this recipe. I didn't bother to take this butter out ahead of time to let it soften, and you really don't need to if you're using an electric mixer. I'm just going to cut our butter into some chunks before throwing it in, just to help it break down easily. To our butter, we're going to add half a cup of granulated sugar. This is an organic sugar we get that has a coarser texture, but fine granulated sugar would work just as well. It really doesn't matter. We'll also add a quarter cup of brown sugar. Again, ours is a coarse organic sugar, but any brown sugar is fine. Using a combination of white and brown sugars is going to give our cookies the perfect light chewiness. We'll use our whisk attachment to get our butter and sugars all creamed together. Start it on low at first while that butter gets broken down, just so it doesn't fly out of the bowl. Then you can kick up the speed a bit to really cream it all together. Let it go until you can't tell the butter from the sugar. Next, we'll add 1 egg, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And we'll turn the mixer back on to mix it all in. Before moving on to the next step, I like to scrape down the sides of the bowl real quick just to make sure everyone's in the pool. And we'll make sure it's all nice and creamy. Once it's nice and smooth, we're ready to add in our dry ingredients. Now, sometimes I'll mix the dry ingredients together in a separate bowl first, just to make sure they're really evenly distributed. But some days, like today, I just like to keep things easy. And easy means everything in one bowl, and less dishes to wash. And you'll see it turns out just fine. So we'll add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and again, I'm into doing less dishes today, so I'm just going to fill up this half-cup measure 3 times. And we thought we'd never use that elementary school math. We'll also add half a teaspoon of baking soda. I'm just eyeballing half of this 1 teaspoon measuring spoon because, again, less dishes. It'll be fine. Now in this recipe, we're also going to use 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Traditionally, snickerdoodles will call for cream of tartar instead of baking powder, but cream of tartar just isn't something that I keep in the house simply because I almost never use it, and I'm not into buying ingredients only to use a tiny bit in one recipe and waste the rest. So we're using baking powder and they turn out great. Last, the star of the show, we'll add a teaspoon of pumpkin spice seasoning to our dough. Mix it all together on low, just until the ingredients are incorporated. At the very end, I like to kick up the mixer to high just for a second to get all of the dough out of the whisk. And there we have it, our cookie dough is ready to go. Now, the signature of a snickerdoodle cookie is that it's rolled in a cinnamon sugar mixture before it's baked. For our pumpkin spice version, we're simply substituting pumpkin spice for the cinnamon. So in a small bowl, we'll combine 2 tablespoons of our granulated sugar with 1 tablespoon of pumpkin spice. Pumpkin spice is mostly cinnamon anyway, with the addition of nutmeg, ginger, allspice, and clove. So it's really a perfect twist on a classic. Alright, so we'll set that aside for a moment while we scoop our cookie dough. I'm going to line 2 cookie sheets with parchment paper. Parchment paper is magical for baking cookies. You can be confident that your cookies will never stick to the pan, and the best part, say it with me, less dishes to wash. Alright, let's get scooping. I have a 1.5 tablespoon cookie scoop that I'm using, and if I do nice level scoops, I'll get 1.5 dozen cookies out of this recipe. I'm just going to scoop these all onto 1 cookie sheet for now. We still need to roll them in our pumpkin spice sugar, so don't worry about spacing them out yet. I'm going to make sure I get every last bit of that dough. We are a no cookie left behind kind of household. Then once our dough is all portioned out, I'll give each ball a gentle roll in my hands, a quick roll in our pumpkin spice sugar, and we have a cookie ready to bake. After we roll out the rest, of course. Now, as you roll and place them onto your cookie sheets, you can evenly space them out a couple inches apart. I like to do 9 to 12 per tray. Now, if you're in a hurry, you can bake both sheets at the same time and just switch their positions in the oven partway through. But if you have the time, I prefer to just bake 1 sheet at a time on the center rack for the most even baking and optimal results. I personally love how relaxing baking can be when you can just take your time. And if you don't think you're a baker, I encourage you to give a simple recipe like this a try. It just might change your mind. It's going to give you all the warm seasonal vibes, and it's pretty fail-proof. While I'm doing these, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know, are you an experienced baker or trying something new? Also, what is your favorite fall recipe? We always love hearing from you guys and getting new ideas. Also, this may not look like much pumpkin spice sugar for rolling our dough in, but I hate recipes that just have a ton of waste. There's no reason for it, and I assure you this will be more than enough for our cookies. By the way, if you are looking for more pumpkin spice recipes, I will leave a link to our pumpkin spice playlist at the end of this video. Okay, we are oven ready. We'll bake these for 12 minutes until we have a very light golden brown. I always like to set a timer to make sure I don't forget about these delicious morsels. Look at how beautiful. I can't wait to eat them. And while we have our oven open, in goes batch number 2. Now we'll grab a cooling rack and transfer your gorgeous cookies over. Ah, the magic of parchment paper makes it so easy. If you don't use parchment paper, I would definitely recommend letting your cookies set for a couple minutes on your cookie sheet before attempting to move them with a spatula. These cooling racks are awesome because they're coated so they won't rust, and you can stack them so they take up less countertop space, which means more room to do other things in your kitchen while your cookies cool. I've had these and used them for years and they've held up great. And I've recently added them to my Amazon storefront to make them easy for you to find, along with some of our other favorite kitchen tools. I'll leave a link to that in the video description in case you'd like to check them out. These cookies have such a wonderful texture, the perfect amount of sweetness and fall flavor, and as you now know, they're so easy to make. When you try them for yourself, we'd love for you to come back and tell us all about it. Until then, feel free to share this recipe with the pumpkin spice and cookie lovers in your life. We wish you a beautiful autumn season and happy home cooking!